What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Forever Stranded Lost Souls. Oh yeah, guys, so I was kind of looking at our ender chest here. I was seeing where's all the resources going, where's it coming from, how many we're getting, and I've been noticing that we're not getting anything. So I was looking, and yeah, the Y level is like getting down low where we should be getting resources and stuff, but nothing is coming in. So I was looking, and it definitely says the progress is we're working on chunk 577 of 108. What? 108? Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we're at 578 of 108 that we are well over what we should be doing. I'm not sure. Is it just repeating? Like, is it going and redoing things that it's already done? I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. So, let's turn this off. We'll turn it back on. Actually, we turn it off, and I think we have to click the reset button. Stop. Now if we turn it back on, now it says it's doing chunk 0 of 1089, and it's going a lot faster. So why it was saying it was only doing chunk 108? It was on chunk like 500 of 108. I'm not entirely sure. But now we gotta wait for this thing to catch all the way back up. You can see it's going quite quickly now, scanning through all these chunks. But yeah, something kind of glitched out there. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I was kind of checking on the progress of this quarry. We saw that it was turning the ocean into dirt, and I was kind of flying around to see where it went, how far, and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's done kind of a massive amount of work here. It's interesting seeing all what used to be rivers turned into dirt. We have dirt rivers now, which is kind of crazy to look at. Looks like we got a little bit of water that's flowing down on top of that. But yeah, like, this has done a decent amount. Now, I'm not sure how much further this will go. Like, was it already done? I honestly don't know. Maybe it'll go further this way a little bit or something, but we'll let this thing turn back on and continue doing what it's doing. It's not like we are in dire need of resources right now. I was just kind of curious to see why we weren't getting anything. And then I started going along this path being like, how much further has this thing gone? And all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I don't know why that thing glitched out, but obviously it did. Alright guys, so we've been moving some things around, trying to figure out our applied energistic system and trying to get things automated. So right now we just have our two ME drives over here and then this crystal growth chamber, which is gonna have to find a new home. I started making some more advanced inscribers. So we got one for each of our different presses here. So we got the logic, the silicon, the calculation, and then we also have the engineering down here. So the silicon goes into each one of our processors, and then each one of these is for the three different types. So then if we want to make all three of those processors at the same time, we are going to need a way to craft all three of those at the same time. Now, we will be limited on this if we only have one of our silicon inscribers over here. So maybe what we'll end up doing is just pre-crafting up a bunch of these things, or we could add in two more inscribers so we can do 3 silicon, all 3 different processors, and then craft all 3 of them at a time. I don't know how crazy I want to get with this right now, but what I do want to do is have these 3 making their own processor parts, and then have 3 over here designated to make the 3 processors with the silicon. Okay, so in order to do all of this, we need to get ourselves more of our engineering processors made. So each one of our advanced inscribers here, I did put in 5 of these acceleration cards, so it goes quite quickly. It's not bad, and then we can throw these parts over here and start crafting those into the processor components as we are doing other stuff here. So yeah, it's gonna go pretty quickly, I think. So I needed 4 of those to make 2 more advanced inscribers. Let's go ahead and make these. And there's 2 more of those. And then I am going to need acceleration. So we got 4 of them. We need a total of 10. So let's make acceleration, if I can spell it correctly, which I can't. It's fine. We'll just move on. So that'd be 6, 8, 10, right? Yeah, cool. So let's make those into the acceleration. Cool. All right, so now we should have everything here to fill these up. So there's that and that. Perfect. All right, so all of those things have the acceleration cards in. They just need to be automated. So we need a way to push items in to each one of these inscribers and then take the items back out once they are completed. So that's going to involve a little bit of work. So I'm going to start removing blocks around these guys so we have access to the different sides, and it'll just make our life easier here. And then I guess we can remove the blocks directly behind them. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do this just yet. I think we will need access to 2 different sides, though. We'll be using the applied energistics ME interfaces for sure. So let's take a look at ME interface. So these guys are what we need pretty much for every single type of auto crafting. So we will make one. We need one of these for each one of the things that we are going to say, hey, put in this item to get this item back out. So pretty much we are going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. Yes. So we are going to need a lot of these guys. So we are also going to need a lot of these annihilation cores and a lot of the formation cores. I think that should be enough. And then hopefully we get all the other parts here. Can we make the quartz glass? Is this still a thing that'll allow us to craft? Looks like it'll allow us to craft it, which is good. Okay, so let's do... There's 7. Is that what we needed? I think that's what I said that we needed. Okay, very good. So now that we have those, we can start putting these guys directly behind. Now, here's a problem. Each one of these ME interfaces is going to start using a channel, right? So that's 7 channels. This cable right here, just the Fluix cable, can only hold 8 channels. So this is going to be a problem. Before we even set this down, if we set that down, we're going to have big problems because currently this cable is doing 2 channels for the 2 ME drives, 3 channels for the storage bus, 3 more channels for our 3 terminals up here. We have our ME crafting terminal. We have our pattern terminal where we can see, or we can craft different patterns. And we have the interface terminal, which I made, I think, off camera, which allows us to see all of our auto crafting things so we can make patterns and put them in here without having to go to the interface every time. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6 already. And I think that's it. I think that's it on that line. So yeah, we are already like overburdened on that cable. So things that we can do, we could make ME dense cable and run a big cable that does 32 channels through here, or we can start looking at more advanced applied energistics stuff by using P2P tunnels, which allows us to take 32 channels off one of these controller blocks using 1 channel through this, put the 32 channels over here, and then, yeah, we can be a lot more efficient with our cabling. And I think that's what we're going to do. Now, I haven't looked and seen what the P2P tunnels cost in this mod pack, and it's not that bad. Okay, yeah, we should be able to do this quite easily. Okay, so we're going to make, like, I don't know. Let's start off with as easy amount, like 4. Let's not go too crazy. I guess that's all we can make because that's the amount of processors that we had. Okay, so we have that. We are going to want to get ourselves some ME dense cable. We don't need a lot of this stuff, but we are going to need this, and I'll show you guys why here very shortly. Okay, so in order to make ME dense cable, let's see, we need the covered cables. Actually, hold on a second. Dense covered cable. Yeah, this is what we're doing, I think. No, we need the ME dense smart cable. Yeah, they changed this a little bit in the recent versions, and I'm still not quite used to it. All right, so we need to do a Fluix cable covered with wool. How much wool do we have? We have none. Okay, how are we doing on string? We have a lot. Okay, so we need 4 of these per dense cable, I think. So let's make, oh, I don't know, how about 20? I think that'll be just fine. Or I guess we need Fluix. The Fluix cable, well, we only got 14 of those. Let's just turn all those into dense ones. Can we make any more Fluix cable? Let's click through here until we find it. Maybe, eventually, someday. So here, there it is, found it. Okay, can we make these? No, we don't have the, oh my goodness. Okay, so let's do Fluix cable. We need the quartz fiber in order to do this, which means we need, oh no, it's all the quartz glass. How much quartz glass can we make? Can we make like 30? It says we can make 30, so let's do that. That'll make our life easier. Okay, so there is our quartz glass. We're gonna make all of this quartz fiber so we can make more of these things here. Okay, so we got 21 of those, and very, very good. We need our wool now. All right, there we go. Now we're cooking. So there is 5 of these cables, and then we need to put that with glowstone and redstone, I think is what it said. All of this stuff will have auto-crafted eventually, so it won't be, we won't have to struggle with remembering these recipes at all. Okay, so there's an ME Smart cable. We're also going to want to make ourselves cable anchors. These are the items that you need in order to make these facades. The facades, point-to-point networking, the facades are what we have around our terminals here, so we don't see the backing. So like if we get ourselves our wrench, where did I put that? Is it in, did I put it in here? No. Did I not make myself a quartz wrench? I guess we can use this hammer. I think that works just fine. If we right click this, shift right click. Okay. So yeah, you shift right click that, and that's what the terminal looks like without the facade on there. You can see the cabling and there's a hole there. It just doesn't look very good. So you can just right click a facade on there. Yeah. And then it looks much better. To make the facades, you do 4 of these plus some kind of a block, whatever you want the facade to be, like this dark stone cobblestone. Then you can make it out of that if you wanted to. But anyway, we're going to be using these cable anchors for a different purpose. All right, so let's go down here. And I guess we'll just use some of these inside blocks here. Now, the reason why I want this ME Smart cable, so we can tell how many channels each one of our P2Ps are currently using. So I'm going to place this here so our smart cable does not attach to that block. So we know that all of our channels are coming out of this face, and we can look at this cable right here and it'll say 032 channels are being used at the top of the screen right now. When we start using channels, it'll tell us how many we've used, right? So I want it, that way we're not splitting between the two or whatever, we know for sure. That's the reason why. Anyway, so now that we have that, we can put ourselves a P2P tunnel here, right? So this is, these 32 channels going in this tunnel is what's going to connect over there eventually. We will need to get ourselves another one of these anchors there. And then we are going to use some Fluix cable, which I don't have on me. And we have a wireless crafting terminal, by the way, guys. We have a wireless crafting terminal, so we don't have to run all the way upstairs every time now. So I'm going to place this cable here, right? And the reason why I'm doing that is we are going to connect our P2P channels or our P2P tunnels to one side of our controller. Now, being that we don't have a lot of P2P tunnels, normally what I'd do is I'd have 5 of them attached just the same way, each one of these cables separated, and then this cable would attach to one of these controller blocks. But we don't really have enough P2P tunnels to do that at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this right here. And we're just going to attach our P2P tunnel directly to this controller block. And I guess we could hook up another one of these here. We'll just separate this cable like so. We'll place this one here, and then we will place a P2P tunnel right like so. Okay, so now these two are separate. They're not connected to each other. The P2P tunnels will be connected to this controller block, right? So what we can do is now grab the channels from here, or I guess this P2P tunnel, and link that all the way over there. Now, the way we do that is we need to make ourselves a memory card. All right, so a memory card is made with a calculation processor, iron, gold, redstone, not so expensive. We'll grab one of these. Now, what we need to do is just shift right click on this guy. And it says copy device configuration to memory card. So now what we can do is we can get rid of this. We can place this right here and place a dense cable on it like so. We're going to be moving some stuff here. But anyway, we can place this dense cable here. And then we can just right click on here to load the settings. Okay. So this says 032 channels being used. It's got to reconfigure itself and figure out what's all up there. But yeah, you can see now that it says 2 of 32 channels are being used. So these 2 channels are coming from right here. You can see 2 of 32 on this dense cable, right? But this P2P, this guy right here, this P2P, this is still using a channel on this cable. So currently we're using the 3 channels up there. This is the 4th channel. This is our 5th channel right here. But this one provides us with 32 more channels that we can use, which is good. But again, this cable can only use 8. And if we put 7 of our interfaces up there and we have these 2 right here, we're going to be overloaded. So our ME drives, I'm going to move back over here, I think. We have our storage drawers right here. We could just put our digital storage next to it, connect it to that same line, or figure out the rest of the channeling later, and then we'll have our 8 channels available on this end. Okay, so let me go ahead and start getting some things hooked up over here. We'll move these things downstairs further beyond our line here. So we're not on the P2P channel, we're before that, and then we'll be right back. All right, so here's another option for you. If you don't want to just count the channels every time, you can make the ME Smart cable as well. Generally speaking, I kind of can control how many channels that I have along my lines, and I know what I'm doing. So if I ever make these things, I usually just place it at the very end where the cable connects, and I can just come over here and take a look. But if you want, you can make your entire network out of these things. I don't think I want to do that though. But yeah, you can see right here that we're using 7 out of 8 channels. And again, we can count that up. Our 2 ME drives are now down here. So that's 2 channels. We have the 3 up there. So that's 5, 6 on this one, and then 7 for our P2P right here, right? So yeah, everything is pretty good. So this thing no longer says it's using channels because the 2 channels that I was using were from those ME drives. So what we can do is start hooking things up. So we're using 0 channels on our P2P there. What I need to do is I need to remove this guy right here and remove this cable. Okay, so that cable is going to be replaced with an interface here. So we'll place interfaces behind each one of these guys, and then one right here is the cable connects to this guy, and that will make all 7 channels being used. Or I guess it'll make 7 of the channels being used down here. Okay, so now we have the ability of putting in patterns, so we can say 1 silicon is going to equal 1 printed silicon. So that's fine. This interface will push a silicon into this thing, but I don't believe these machines will extract the silicon, so we will need a way to pull the silicon out of here and put it back into the interface. So we can do that a few different ways. We can use Ender IO, we can use thermal expansion. There's a lot of different, or I'm sorry, not Ender IO, it's not in this mod pack. I meant extra utilities too. Yeah, there's a few different ways we could do that. I think thermal expansion just makes the most sense. We could just use one retrieval node. So let's do item ducts. Well, we only got 2. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make some more of those. And then we need a, do we have a retrieval? Perfect, okay. Resonant retriever. Actually, we need 2 of these. Item duct. Okay. So what we can do is just run the item ducts all the way along underneath here and just have one of these connected to any one of these interfaces. It doesn't really matter which one, but yeah, we'll just put this like here and we will do ignore. So this is always trying to pull out an item from this guy back into that interface back here. Okay. And then when we connect all these other ones down here, it'll try and pull from all these different machines into that interface. And it doesn't matter if the interface itself is the one that pushed the items into the inscriber. If it gets the item back, it can go in anywhere in the network. As long as the network receives the item, it'll just say the auto craft is complete. Okay, so now what we want to do is make ourselves a pattern so we can say that 1 silicon is going to equal 1 printed silicon. So we are currently using crafting patterns. We saw that last time, how we can tell the system how to craft like quartz glass, right? That's just a normal crafting grid crafting pattern. Now we got to do a processing pattern. So a processing pattern is when you take an item, put it into a machine and expect something back that's not just a normal craft, okay? So now we need to get silicon. We want to say that one of these silicons are going to equal one of these silicons here. And you just place one at a time by right clicking. If you left click, you do a full stack. I think you can, yeah, you can right click after you've done that to lower the count, and then a left click with an empty mouse cursor deletes what's in there. So anyway, we'll do one of these equals one of those, and then we will make this pattern here. Does it say that it is? It doesn't. I don't think it says. Is there a difference between what these things say if it's a crafting pattern or not? Let's see. Crafts with that and that. Substitutions, no. Maybe it's just the substitutions is the only way to tell if that's a crafting pattern or a... I can't remember the processing patterns. Anyway, so let's come over here. We will place this guy right into here. So now we should be able to tell the system to create printed silicon. It'll start putting the silicon here, and this will do its thing. And then the retriever will extract the completed items. So let's tell it to make, I don't know, how about 30 printed silicon. You can middle mouse click on there to bring this up. 30. Looks like things are happening. It is not doing anything. Why is it not working, I wonder? Okay. What does it say is going on over here? It says it's crafting 30 of these. Now, I guess it's possible that the interface tried pushing the items into this pipe here, and then this took the items and pushed it back out. I guess that's a possibility of what just happened here. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what is going on. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's come around to the other side. We're just gonna break some more of these blocks out. We can hit this with a wrench and make it so there's an arrow on it that points towards where we want the items to go. Okay, so let's grab our wrench here. I think you just click it on the back. Yeah, you can see there's an arrow now facing forward, which is gonna say the items go this way. So let's cancel our craft. Cancel. We'll try it one more time. Printed silicon. Let's make 30 of those. There it goes. Now we are getting the items into the correct spot. Yeah, either this interface pushed the items into our item duct here, or it could have pushed it into the interface next to it. I don't think it ever does that. Yeah, I think it must have pushed it down into the item duct is what happened. But yeah, you can see as it crafts that the items are being pulled back out thanks to our resonant retriever, going back into that interface back there, completing the craft. Now, if we come over here, which should say that this is all done, yeah, and we should have 30 more printed silicon than what we had previously. Very easy. Okay, so we need to repeat that for each one of these. I need to make a processing pattern for every one of those. These guys over here might be a little bit more tricky. I'm not sure how that works. If the interface, if I tell it to put in like a redstone, a glow, or like a redstone, a printed silicon, and one of the other processors, if it goes into all 3 slots, or if I have to push items into different sides, I don't really remember how these things work. So I'll play around with this a little bit. We'll come back and just check it out. Be right back, guys. All right, so all the patterns have been set, and it was a pretty easy thing. We just did a pattern similar to this, so one of the printed engineering plus a redstone plus a printed silicon is going to equal an engineering processor, and I did change it out for like the logic one equals a logic processor and calculation for the calculation processor, etc. So now all of our different processors we can auto craft. So if I wanted to make, say, like 5 of these engineering, to tell it to make 5, it says it needs the 5 redstone, the 5 printed, and the 5 silicon to craft that. We can tell it to start, and then you can see over here that this is crafting up quite quickly and things are being processed, which is really, really nice. So all of our processors are now on auto craft. The thing is, we don't have other things on auto craft that we will need for this stuff eventually. Like we don't have a way to get the silicon. Silicon is achieved by pulverizing Certus quartz dust and smelting it. Later on, we will be able to get it through silicon essence. Once we get to that point, we get these silicon seeds, which is probably something we should start looking at doing here very soon. So we could get the essence and have that stored somewhere, just constantly producing it. Yeah, those are things that we're gonna have to look at. Other such things is quartz glass, for instance. If we want to make quartz glass and we want to make, I don't know, 1,000 of those, you can see that we don't have enough glass. We're gonna have to tell the system how to create glass, right? And then we're also gonna have to tell the system how to create crushed quartz. So these are a lot of things that we're gonna have to figure out and do going forward. Yeah, like these machines that we have over here, all of our thermal expansion machines, I would like to have these things auto craftable, but that is, what is that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more channels that we'll have to do. So that's more P2P tunnels and a lot more things that we'll have to get hooked up, which is not a big deal, but it is something that we will have to do. Now, this is pretty much completed over here. The problem is it doesn't look very pretty, so let's figure out how to cover up these item ducts. Thermal expansion does have covers, like facades, that we can cover those up with. So if we search for a thermal, and I think it is structured duct is what we need. Is that structural duct? Provide structure. Combine with the block to create covers. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so we craft one of those, we get 6. Now I don't remember, is it 1-to-1 with the structural duct for the cover? Do we have stone in the system that we can craft with? I do not see stone in here. Yes, I do. Okay, found it. And you get 6 per craft, I think. Okay, so we need to do 2 of those. So we got 12 stone covers. So these are pretty much like facades. You just click them on the pipes and then, whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. You just click them on the pipes there. Yeah, and then they cover it up and it looks like it's a full block. You can't even tell there is pipe behind it. Very good, I like it. So now we just have machines in the wall that just start auto crafting when we request stuff. And yeah, and there's no wires or nothing messy about it. I did end up putting our crystal growth chamber down here because it needed power and I was trying to make some more of our pure crystals. We already had the ME cable running under there. We'll have to find a home for that and get that thing hooked up too so it can create the pure crystals. That's another thing we're going to be running into actually. So if we wanted to make like more of the engineering processors, the printed things, like if we want to make 100 of those, each one of those requires a pure Fluix crystal. So again, we're going to have to set that thing up to make the Fluix. We'll have to take the Fluix, put it through our pulverizer to turn it into the dust, and then we'll have to take that dust, mix it with sand, take the sand, put it into the crystal growth chamber again, and make the pure crystals, right? So there's a lot of like auto crafting stuff that's going to be involved, but again, that might be something, pure Fluix, that we might be able to do through mystical agriculture. Looks like we can do that through the phytogenic insulator if we want to use glowstone with the Fluix. See, that doesn't seem very efficient. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like there is another way of doing that. So I believe Fluix itself, though, we can get through mystical agriculture. So again, this leads back to where we're just going to have to start doing a whole lot of mystical agriculture stuff. We look at the uses for that. We can see it makes the Fluix essence, which turns into the Fluix crystals. So we could skip that first part and just have this stuff always available to auto craft. But yeah, that's going to require more infrastructure for us. Guys, we're going to wrap the episode up here for today. Getting some auto crafting set up, very good. We can still only do one auto craft job at a time because we just have our basic auto crafting processor set up. We will have to look at making more of those, but now that we got the processors all auto crafting behind me, yeah, that's going to make our lives a lot easier. We can just tell the system, hey, make like, 50 of the calculation processors or whatever, and then we should be able to make a whole lot of the co-processors or the, whatever, the storage. We'll be able to, having all those processors available will allow us to upgrade our actual digital storage disks from 4K to 16 or 64K pretty easily. Will cost the resources though, but yeah, that's going to help us out a lot. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.